Greetings, I'm Dr. Sean Reed, author of the Dating Toolbox, available on Amazon.com. So today I'm asking the question, are women destabilizing civilization? Or put another way, how are women destabilizing civilization? And the larger question is, what can we do about this situation? I argue that men, as so many times in human history, need to step up and solve this problem. So the question is, are women destabilizing civilization? Well, I hate to say it, but the answer is yes. Here, in the manosphere and the red pill society, a lot of us like to blame women for a lot of modern problems in our culture. I think that some of that is true, but it is not because women are inherently bad. Women, I think, are inherently good. What happens is our culture, our society turns them bad. So our institutions, our educational institutions like universities, the media, television, places like Facebook on the internet, take good people and turn them bad. And so, the question is, what can we do about this? For example, I was taught at college for many years, and I was in the academic system for many years, and women would come into the system very young, of course, 18 years old, and a lot of time their instincts were to find a husband. They wanted to find a husband. They wanted to have a family. They wanted to be, their natural tendencies were to be good and nurturing. And by the time they graduate from college, they're fuck the patriarchy. So, our university, our college system teaches women to hate men. If you go on television, Hollywood shows, men are portrayed as idiots and women are portrayed as the heroes. So we have all these media influence that I believe really have a negative impact on women. So women aren't inherently bad. So just our culture makes them seem bad. Okay, so I want to talk about why why I claim that women are destabilizing civilization, and it's primarily because of the population decline. Okay, one of the greatest problems we have in our modern world is the fact that countries, your first world democracies, are places where our populations are declining, our young population are declining. For example, you need about 2.1, 2.2 people born for every 2 people in order to maintain a stable population. Now, why do you want to maintain a stable population? You want to maintain the stable population because if you don't, you're going to have economic collapse. You're going to have environmental collapse. You're going to have a loss of resources. Let me explain how this works. You have a certain amount of old people in society, and you have a certain amount of very young people, and then in the middle, say between the ages of like 21 and 63 or 64, you have the people who are the workers in society. And what has happened because of population decline, the average birth rate in America is less than 1.4 people for every 2 people. So what you have now, and this is the same in Western Europe, Japan, Australia, all first world countries, what you have is you have a situation where you don't have enough workers coming into the system to support the aging population, to support the needed tax base, and all sorts of bad things happen from that. I did another video on this. I'm not going to get too in depth, but just understand right now that the population decline we are seeing are going to have devastating effects. For example, our deficit is already massively out of control. It's $70,000 for every person in this country. So we need to have young workers coming into the system, and it can be argued that the problem is women. If we look at the divorce rate, half of all marriages end in divorce, and 70% of the time, it's the woman filing divorce. And then many of our children are being raised in single parent families. And unfortunately, the reality is that children raised in single parent families have lots of problems, higher rates of mental illness, higher rates of drug addiction, higher rates of incarceration, alcoholism. They tend to not be able to contribute as much to society as children raised in traditional two-parent families. So even though our population is declining, making matters worse is many of the kids we have coming into the workforce have all sorts of problems, okay? We also have an obesity epidemic. That means more health problems, more costs for healthcare. So, and of course our media glorifies all this. Our media says, you go girl to the single parents. Our media says that, we have to have body positivity, that being obese is perfectly fine. As a matter of fact, it's something to be celebrated. So if we look at the way things are and the way things are going, it's only going to get worse. Okay, so our media, our colleges teach our women to hate men. So it should be no surprise that most divorces are filed by women, right? It should be no surprise that on dating sites, 85% of the women are only interested in 15% of the men. This happens because our women are taught to hate men. Our women are taught that, you must have standards, and most men don't meet those standards. So what this all means, if you add it up all together, it means our population decline is going to get worse, and this problem is going to get worse, okay? So what can we do? What can we do? What is happening is that most men are saying, I'm going to do nothing. Dating and marriage is such a bad idea. That's all I see when I watch YouTube. I'm getting comments on my videos now, and all my videos are, why should I talk to women when nothing but bad things happen from talking to women? I argue that we need to change our mindset. Men need, as with so many things, men need to come in and solve the problem. We need to come into and rescue our civilization. And how do we do that? We do that, as I've argued many times, is we do that by developing a rigorous selection system. Okay, we can't, what's happening right now is men are saying, look, I'm simply not going to get involved in this. I'm not gonna pursue women, it's not worth it. I'm not gonna pursue marriage, it's not worth it. I'm arguing that we must do something, or our civilization is going to collapse. What do? We develop a rigorous system for finding high quality women, okay? I argue that women are not inherently bad, but our culture makes them bad. Having said that, still at least 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 3 women are, even in our modern culture, are long-term potential. So there are good women out there. It is simply a matter that we must find them. How do we find them? We have a system. We have a rigorous system for selecting good women, for weeding out the bad. That's why I coach guys, you've got to start conversations with women, right? And you got to look for certain things. The first thing you look for is a girl that smiles at you when you smile at her. Okay, the next thing you look for is a girl that gives you three good first dates, right? So you ask a girl out, she needs to accept your date. If a woman is negotiating, right? If you say, hey, let's go get some coffee, and she says, well, I want you to take me out to this expensive French restaurant, right? Or if you say, oh, let's go have a drink, and she says, no, I want you to take me out to this expensive sushi place, that is an early sign that you've got a bad one, okay? So early on, if a woman is constantly trying to negotiate the dates, that's a red flag. Get rid of her. Then you must get your first 3 months. I argue that we don't commit to women completely for the first 3 months. Then you must get what I call the golden year. These are all steps in the process that will enable you to weed out unacceptable women and to find a high quality woman. Now, once you get that golden year, now you have a woman that is marriage material. From then, you need to properly manage the relationship. You need to keep her in love with you, and I have separate videos on things that we can do to keep a woman in love with you. So, women are not inherently evil. We just need to find the good ones. We need a rigorous system to weed out the bad women and find the good women. This, I believe, is the only solution to this massive problem facing civilization. Men have to develop and adhere to a strict system of finding high quality women. They have to develop and adhere to a strict system of keeping that woman in love with you. Then and only then can we start to solve this problem and repopulate the earth with children that are emotionally and mentally healthy, children born of strong two-parent families. So guys, I know a lot of you think that the solution to the problem is to step away and not have anything to do with women, but that's actually the opposite. Men must step up, find high quality women, marry high quality women, and only then can we begin to solve this problem.